Now, the Chinese have been drinking it for years, and the Japanese have turned it into a cultural icon. And now Australian farmers are being encouraged to grow green tea for an expanding global market, tipped to get even bigger now that scientists are proving it's as healthy as it is refreshing.
It could be anywhere in Japan, but this New Year tea ceremony is in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney. Homesick expats and culturally curious Australians meet every fortnight under the guidance of Ryoko Freeman, a professor of Chado, the Japanese way of tea.
They want to, have some spirit or philosophy, some different ethnic culture. So like, the martial art people or, people are interested in Zen Buddhism because tea ceremony is based on Zen Buddhism.
Dr. Christina Rocha is an anthropologist who has studied the history and spiritual significance of green tea rituals in Japan.
It's a ceremony that was created in Zen monasteries. And gets a lot of it from Zen. And Zen is about fixing the mind at now, at this point in time. And if you're doing the tea ceremony and you're thinking of something else, you lose it. You forget what you're doing. So you really have to be on the present moment. But also, the four principles of tea are wa, kei, sei, jaku, which is harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility.
While the importance of ceremony in Japan remains high, green tea has evolved into an everyday beverage, prized for its flavour and health-giving properties. The Japanese are the world's second largest consumers of green tea behind China, but their local industry is contracting and some of the biggest manufacturers are now trying to develop a supply chain here in Australia. At Summersby on the New South Wales Central Coast, the Rural Industries Research and Development Corporation is funding a joint venture between the Department of Primary Industries, the University of Newcastle and the Japanese company Kunitaro.
The climate here is very similar to the climate in Shizuoka, which is the major green tea growing area in Japan. There's great potential for green tea on the Central Coast here. The green tea grows really well. We've had no pests or diseases, and the quality is really good. It just grows like a camellia. There are camellia species, so you can see they grow like a hedge. They just keep them trimmed.
Green tea is harvested 4 times a year, but the so-called spring flush, the first leaves cut after winter, can attract a premium of 10 times the price of the autumn harvest. The New South Wales Green Tea Project is aiming to tap into a lucrative counter-seasonal market.
Green tea is harvested in May in Japan, so the Japanese believe they can taste a big difference between freshly harvested tea and tea that's been stored for 6 months. So the idea here in Australia is to provide fresh green tea into their market in wintertime, which is their peak gift-giving season.
The Summersby trial yielded its first serious harvest last spring, averaging 6 tonnes of tea per hectare, which was reduced to 1.2 tonnes dry weight after being steamed, rolled and dried in a purpose-built small-scale processing plant. On the strength of its early success, Kunitaro's Australian agents want to build a factory.
We don't use the insecticide, so we can get raw agri-chemical tea in here. And the Australia is good image for us and beautiful and clean.
Back at the Summersby Research Farm, master tea taster Motomi Ito has given the first spring harvest a huge rap.
The aroma is very good. Its taste is good. and I can say the quality is as good as if it was being produced in Japan.
After 15 years teaching Chado in Australia, Ryoko Freeman is excited by the prospect of one day using locally grown tea in her ceremonies.
If you know the Australian farmer produces tea for tea ceremony, which is great because you know the tea itself is very, very expensive in Japan. Especially you know the nowadays you know exchange rate is you know really dropped a lot.